Alright, if this video cuts out on me, it's because I'm out of storage. I'm trying to get iCloud storage. I can't figure it out. Anyways, where was I? Oh, yes. We were talking about the tree of life throughout the scriptures. We talk about the tree of knowledge throughout the scriptures. We ended up with Saul, tree of knowledge. Now, Saul, in a sense, was the people's choice. He was from the tribe of Benjamin, but ultimately, in the end, he was actually for his own kingdom, and he was for the self. And he was in rebellion, committing witchcraft in the attempt to offer sacrifices to God to boast of his victory over the Amalekites, signifying the flesh. Now, the flesh has good aspects. That doesn't mean there's anything good in the flesh, but has good aspects as far as the appearance is concerned. Now, he kept the best of the feast of sheep. And let's go ahead and just read it here. 1 Samuel. It says, Then Saul struck the Amalekites from Havilah as you go towards Shur, which is opposite Egypt, and he captured, this is 1 Samuel 15:7, and he captured Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good. And he would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was despised and worthless, this they utterly destroyed. And the word of Jehovah came to Samuel, saying, I repent I made Saul king, for he has turned back from following me, and has not fulfilled my words. So, in other words, he became independent, the line of knowledge. Now, he ends up offering sacrifices. He says, to sacrifice Jehovah your God in Gilgal, he brought Agag, the king of the Amalekites, and having utterly destroyed the Amalekites, got the best to offer them to God. In a sense, that's a picture of us offering the good aspect of our flesh, but not realizing it's actually rebellion and disobedience. Samuel said in verse 22 of 15, he says, Does Jehovah delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the voice of Jehovah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. So obeying and heeding, this matter of, again, the dependence upon the tree of life. Verse 23, For rebellion is like the sin of divination, and insubordination is like idolatry and teraphim. Because you have rejected the word of Jehovah, he has also rejected you from being king. So really in the, especially in the genealogy of Jesus Christ in Matthew 1, Saul is not mentioned as one of the kings. The kingship really began with David when he was anointed by Samuel. And he, in appearance, although he might have been a good-looking guy, in appearance, he did not look like the king that Israel wanted as far as their choice, because when Goliath came from the Philistines and to challenge Israel, well, when David compared to Goliath, it didn't look as though David had this victorious anything in the natural realm, in the natural realm that says that this man's going to be able to defeat Goliath. And Saul even gave him his armor, and the armor was way too big. And well, anyways, ultimately he did defeat Goliath because he was a man after God's own heart. The difference between Saul and David is striking. Saul wanted his own kingdom. He's for himself. David did not care about the throne like Saul did. He cared about God's house. He cared about Jehovah having a dwelling place. Now, throughout, Saul tried to kill him. He had the opportunity to take out Saul and didn't. He chose not to. But even with David, we see the matter of the tree of the knowledge weaving in through him as well. And that is in the Psalms. He has these Psalms like Psalm 119 where he talks about the law and the word and how he views the word not as, okay, everything you say will do, but as food, as life, as light, as supply, as what? Something to depend on, the tree of life. But when you look at Psalm 1 or any of the other Psalms where there's a lot of talk about vengeance things, you realize there's a mixed sentiments on the tree of the knowledge. And they're mixed in with the Psalms. Some of the Psalms, like Psalm 8, is on the tree of life. Others, like Psalm 1, is on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And speaking of the Psalms, right before them, we have Job, which the title of two trees, two sources, two lines, two principles, two ends to the divine revelation of the scriptures, message of 37 life study of Job. Well, you see with Job, there was a matter of the tree of the knowledge, especially if you take away the first throughout, especially with his friends, the friends that came up and tried to tell him the reason why this is because you're this, and it was all good and evil.